Hey guys, this is Nick at Hill House, and we're going to be doing some GMAT critical reasoning with Lsat logical reasoning problems. I know that we've been gone for a while. We were here on a Lunar New Year holiday, but now we're back and we're going to hit the ground running. You guys asked for CR, and we are giving you CR, and we're going to do that with Lsat problems. Let's talk more about that. So why are we using the Lsat logical reasoning problems? Well, for one thing, there are 50 official Lsat practice tests. For those of you who don't know, the Lsat is sort of like the GMAT, except instead of going to business school, people use it to get into law schools in the US. And unlike the GMAT, they release many practice tests for potential test takers to use. These questions that appear on the tests are, of course, scrubbed, professional, and difficult. In fact, they're so difficult that I tell my students who use Lsat problems, there are some question types that are different, one in particular, which we won't talk about, and also the level of difficulty is higher, which is good for you because there's not enough 700 level official GMAT questions for you, but there are all of these tests with all range of difficulty questions that more or less align with the GMAT CR question type. Okay, so how we approach critical reasoning. As you can see, we are not super fancy about it, especially in this video. We're not going to talk about 15 different question types or strategies with strange names. In fact, we're going to take a very simple approach to it. The first thing that you want to do is read the STEM so that you know what you need to look for. After you read the STEM, after you know whether you're looking to strengthen something or weaken something or find out the part of an argument that appears in a certain place, then you read the argument with that in mind, and you're reading it in order to simplify the STEM or the argument. This is really the skill that students need or test takers need to practice the most. It's very similar to the reading comprehension skill where you have to be able to diagram something quickly in your mind so you can see how the parts work together. That's what we're going to spend a lot of time tonight doing in this live session. Once you understand what you're looking for, once you understand what the argument is, then you're going to want to roughly anticipate the solution. Don't spend too much time on this. We'll see this in action later on. Basically, you just need to understand what kind of answer you should be looking for. We'll come back to this in a minute. Once you have what you know once you have what you're looking for, then check that against answers, and finally select the best answer. Okay, so if you're the mantra saying kind of person, before this you can say like, hey, critical reasoning score, are you ready to get rocked? Just to sort of build up your own confidence. But if that doesn't work for you, I understand. All right, so this is from the LSAC practice test 36, section 1, question 1. So like I said, first read the question, the STEM. So what do we see when we read this? We see Ruth and Joanna, two names. Someone uses which of the following techniques to counter this other person's argument. We can anticipate that we're going to be reading a dialogue analysis. And in fact, that's exactly what this is. So now this comes to the sort of tricky part. I want you to read this, and as much as you can, look for just the logic of these arguments. See how they build the arguments, how they, especially Ruth, counters Joanna's argument. I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds to read through this. Okay. So here's what I came up with as I was trying to simplify this argument. Joanna said that companies, after a breakup or bankruptcy, must do the same thing as before the bankruptcy. Ruth responded, no. This is sort of my shorthand. This is no. For example, this Kelton company pre-bankruptcy did X, one thing. It doesn't matter. Remember, we're looking for the skeleton, not the skin. They just did one thing. But then after bankruptcy, they did this, and they did it well. So this is where now roughly anticipating a solution comes in. We have what we're looking for, how she countered it. We have what they said. So how did she counter it? Well, in simple terms, Ruth said, this is why you're wrong. So now what answer here basically says, this is why you're wrong? Give you guys like 5 seconds to read through them, and then we'll talk through them together. All right, so let's take a look at A. She presents a counterexample to a claim. Let's imagine that I'm not totally sure what counterexample means, but she is saying something. She is saying counter, I know, is against. Maybe she's against Ruth to a claim. I know that Joanna made the claim, so I'm going to put a hold on A. I'm not going to cross it off. Let's check the other answers. She offers an alternative explanation for a phenomenon. There's no phenomenon being discussed here, right? All we see is that companies should do the same thing. A phenomenon is sort of an unexpected occurrence. So we can cross that word off in our mind. C, she supports a claim by offering a developed and relevant analogy. No, we know that she said that the first thing she said was wrong. She's not supporting any claim, and she's not making any analogy either. She's giving a specific example. So we can cross off both of those things. Let's take a look at D. She undermines a claim. Once again, this verb is automatically a red flag. She's not undermining. Maybe she's undermining Joanna's claim, but let's see. By showing that it rests on ambiguity, nothing that she said was ambiguous. She gave a very specific example that undermined or proved Joanna's claim wrong. So we can cross that one off. There's nothing ambiguous about what she says, even pointing out an ambiguity. E, she establishes a conclusion by excluding the only plausible alternative to that conclusion. Not quite. There's no only. This is always a red flag. Any sort of absolute word is an easy way to show that, to trick a test taker. Because if you are reading this quickly, okay, so she concludes that, I guess maybe you would say there are possible solutions, or there is a way to change after bankruptcy by excluding the only plausible. Not quite. Here, counterexample, she's giving an example proving something wrong to Joanna's claim. This is something that a skilled critical reasoning test taker would be able to immediately flag as a possible answer. And then even if you think that you found the correct answer, you should quickly go through and cross off the other answers. If you're so certain of an answer, then it should be easy enough to eliminate why the rest of the answers are incorrect. Correct answer A. Let's move on. All right, so the first thing that we do again is read the stem. After reading this, we see the phrases which of the following, if true, calls into question the argument. That's the key phrase that helps us know that this is a weaken the conclusion question. So when we read the argument, we are looking both for the conclusion and we're trying to think of ways that can weaken it. Go ahead, I'll give you another 30 seconds to read this. Okay. So now not only have you read it, but I hope that you've also sort of found the logical skeleton of this argument. See that there's a nutritionist talking. He's talking about juicers. He's saying that the claims are outrageous. He does not feel good about them. He lists some of these claims. But this juice does not have any properties as when it's just a regular old piece of fruit or vegetable. The example he gives is if you want carrot juice, just eat a carrot. So to put this most simply, he says juicers are crazy. They claim that juice heals, but juice is the same as fruit and vegetable. And he says, you want carrot juice? Then eat a carrot. So the conclusion here is just really that juicers are unnecessary. Drinking juice, even prevent cancer, right. So he's saying, save your money, don't buy this. Juicers are unnecessary. So now, how can we weaken the claim that juicers are unnecessary? Here are the answers. You'll notice that I covered up the argument because at this point, you should have enough of an idea of it to find something here that weakens the conclusion. You shouldn't be wasting your time going back and referring to the argument at this point. I'll give you another 10 seconds to take a look through these. If you're watching it later, of course, feel free to pause. Okay, so which argument here weakens the claim that juicers are unnecessary? So to put it in another way, we're looking for something that says juicers are necessary. Hey, nutritionist, you're wrong. This juicer really helps me out. Let's see, does A say that? Easier to consume nutrients in liquid form than solid foods. So does this say that juicers are necessary, that they're helpful? Well, if you are someone who wants to consume this amount of nutrients, but it's hard to in solid foods and easier in liquid forms, then maybe. So let's once again put A on hold as we check the other answers. B, drinking juice from home juicers is less healthy. Once again, we can just cross this out right away because this is agreeing with him, right? He's saying, you're right, juicers, they're not only unnecessary, they're actually bad. Juicers are less healthy, so we cross that off. Oops. Cross that off there. C, to most people who would be tempted to buy a home juicer, $300 is not a major expense. Be careful of this kind of answer. This is just introducing some new information that sort of makes the juicers look good. But if we remind ourselves of the task where we're trying to call it into question, we already know that we're looking to weaken the conclusion, then we know that this does not do that, so we can cross it off. Has nothing to do with the price. D, the nutritionist was a member of a panel that extensively evaluated. I'm going to stop reading because this is the same sort of thing as C, where this is just new information. It's not engaging directly with the conclusion that we're trying to weaken. Last one, vitamin pills. Already, we are not looking for anything about vitamin pills. We're just looking for things about juicers. Cross it off right there. And yes, the correct answer is A. So good job to everyone who got that. Last one, I'm not going to walk you through this one. I want you guys to try this one on your own, and then afterwards, we'll sort of talk through it step by step. So for now, take maybe just 20 seconds. Remember, read the stem, then read the argument, try to roughly anticipate what you're looking for in simple terms, and then look at the answers. Try to find what you're looking for. Okay, so let's talk through this. First thing that you do, read the stem, the question. So this is a little bit different from maybe exactly what you would see on the GMAT, but that's okay, because this is similar to an inference question type where you have to sort of make a guess based on the argument. All right, so in simple terms, most antidepressants cause weight gain. Diets help, but, this is my symbol for but, does not stop weight gain. So what can we infer from this? A physician should not prescribe any antidepressant drug for a patient if that patient is overweight. As maybe you saw this word, like in the earlier slide. Let's see, can we go all the way back? We saw in, where is it? This one, only, we talked about. Another one of these absolute words is any. If you're keeping a list at home, you can add that to it. So any, easy way to make an answer wrong. We can cross that off because we don't know the specific situations here. They're saying no antidepressants. That's too much of a logical jump. And just to make that even clearer to you, the test taker, they start this question off with this word, most antidepressants cause weight gain. So if you miss that, if you miss this, you might think, oh, antidepressants are bad, they shouldn't prescribe them, A. But these two words make sure that a savvy test taker, like you will be when you sit down to take the GMAT, knows that that's the incorrect answer. Let's take a look at B. People who are trying to lose weight, okay, lose weight, weight gain, should not ask their doctors for an antidepressant drug. This is a really tempting answer choice. Let's put a question mark here because we know that here is they don't want weight gain, so they can't stop it. Here, these people are trying to lose weight, not taking antidepressants. That sort of all fits together. Let's keep going. C, at least some patients taking antidepressant drugs gain weight as a result of taking them. Well, that's pretty well supported by this one. So once again, let's move on. Right now we have B and C waiting for us to decide. D, weight gain experienced by patients taking antidepressants should be attributed to lack of dieting. We know that's just definitely not the case. We can cross that one off. Doesn't matter if they diet, they still might gain weight. All patients, another absolute word, another word that we can just almost immediately cross off, right? They should, I don't know about all patients. So now we're stuck between B and C. And to decide between two answer choices like this, you just need to think which one is the most supported. Whereas with C, it's very clearly supported that antidepressants cause weight gain. With B, it's a little bit less so, because here it's saying they should not ask their doctors. Once again, sort of in the same vein as the reason that we crossed off A, we don't know about all of these people who are trying to lose weight and why they might ask their doctor about antidepressant drugs. Whereas we do definitely know that at least some patients taking antidepressants gained weight. That was very clearly established. So for that one, yeah, right, sorry, didn't have this one up earlier. Which one is definitely true? That's a more succinct way of saying it. In this case, C is definitely true. Yes, you can see the comparison between should not and at least some gained weight. C is definitely true. Okay, so this one I'm going to leave up for maybe 10 seconds. So in the future, you future person who's watching this live stream at a later date can pause it and work this one out on your own and then leave your answer in the comments, and we'll review this one first next time. Okay, so hopefully that was enough time for you to pause and move on. We're going to wrap up this live stream. If you have more questions, please do get in touch. I'll be reaching out to some of our more active members. A lot of you guys asked for CR, so I hope this is helpful. And if you liked it, please do share. Hopefully now that we are completely into the Lunar New Year, we'll be more active here on Hillhouse's page and on the GMAT and GRE verbal page. Thank you guys so much for your support. It's been great talking to some of you, and I hope to talk to more of you in the future. All right, happy studying, guys. So long.